From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Thanks for joining us this morning. It is Wednesday, July 9th.
Let's open up the windows and get this day started.
It was just a meaningful service and meant so much. And we miss them all, and it's just tragic.
A North Bay community holding on to hope for members of a Kentfield family missing in the wake of deadly Texas floods. Your community station there as a community holds vigil.
We all tried to warn her. I tried to stay as close as I could.
New details revealed about the killing of a Morgan Hill woman after her boyfriend faces a judge charged with her murder. Why friends of the victims say they saw tragedy coming.
I think that most of us are afraid they're going to catch us, right? And we're trusting in God that it won't be like that none of us will have to go through that immigration process.
President Trump's ICE raids causing fear and anxiety in Bay Area immigrant communities. Hear from a San Francisco business owner who says they are feeling the impact firsthand. And the Giants celebrating this morning after a walk-off win to remember against the Phillies. Walk on a Wednesday. Let's get started. I love that sound, and that's a sound we make when we have Zoe with us. Good morning, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan.
And the crowd goes, whoa! Zoe knocks it out of the park every single time.
I try my hardest. Well, I mean, the weather here, I love forecasting for it. All of the different microclimates. It's so interesting, even when it's a typical July day, which is exactly what we're expecting.
Close. Memo.
I know. You guys didn't text me this morning.
I know.
Come on.
You're not wearing navy, but that's okay. You look great in pink.
I might have to do an outfit change in the commercial break.
On Wednesdays, you wear pink.
On Wednesdays, I wear pink. Obviously, no one else does. But, it's okay because we are looking at a lot of clouds out there. I'm trying to bring the brightness out here early this morning while Reed and Gianna are kind of matching the gloomier start to our morning. Right now, though, I want everyone to see a beautiful time lapse of the fog that continues to roll through. You notice, though, it's not nearly as low to the ground, so visibility shouldn't necessarily be an issue this morning, but it's definitely blocking us from seeing any sort of a beautiful sunrise. So don't wake up early if you want to catch the colors in the sky, unless you live above the clouds, where most of us don't. Temperatures right now, though, are pretty mild. They're sitting in the mid to upper 50s to low 60s, actually, down in the Santa Clara Valley, where the Santa Clara Valley is dealing with more fog right now compared to what they did yesterday, which is the reason that they're a couple of degrees warmer, because clouds overnight act like a blanket. They insulate us, and they keep our overnight temperatures a little bit more mild. By the afternoon, though, we are going to continue to see these clouds peeling back, and there is going to be plenty of sunshine. It might take until the later morning hours for most of the cloud coverage to peel back to the coast, but either way, it is going to be a lot nicer out there this afternoon, especially across our inland areas. If you are planning on heading outdoors inland, heat safety probably going to be more of an issue today than it was yesterday. We're seeing those highs sitting in the upper 80s to low 90s, Santa Clara Valley in the upper 70s to low 80s, areas around the bay in the 70s, and then coastal communities in the low 60s with more of that cloud coverage sticking around throughout the afternoon. But these are very seasonable conditions. I'll let you know when a heat up is on the way coming up in just a bit.
First Alert Weather, brought to you by AAA Insurance. Get a quote today.
All right, let's take a look at the roadways right now. If you are working your way in the area near the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, metering lights are on, and look at that. It is a little bit slow this morning as you work your way over into San Francisco. If you're headed from here over towards that area, maybe 101, if you're maybe taking that area from there all the way towards 280, that's looking pretty good along the peninsula. San Mateo Bridge, not bad. If you're headed westbound 92, traffic is not too bad. It's a little bit crowded, but moving at an okay pace as you get over towards 101 this morning. And if you are headed on 101 itself, maybe towards SFO, there's no delays or issues. That's a look at your morning commute.
Well, this morning, Bay Area first responders are shoulder to shoulder with searchers in Texas, looking for a growing number of people missing in the wake of those Texas floods. And we are mindful this morning of members of a Marin County family who are among the missing.
Yeah, at least 110 people now dead. The number of missing soaring to 160 in Kerr County alone. That's where the Guadalupe River washed away Camp Mystic, a girls' summer camp.
So Texas Governor Greg Abbott taking an aerial tour of the catastrophic flooding. promising lawmakers will address questions about whether alert systems failed. Still, though, for now, he wants to keep the focus on the people who are out there searching for their loved ones.
I want you all to know the hearts of our fellow Texans are breaking every single day because of what people of this community and the surrounding area are going through. There's nothing more important on our hearts and minds than the people of this community, especially those who are still lost.
Well, California is one of several states sending crews to assist in the massive search and recovery effort. The Bay Area deployment includes a human remains detection team from Menlo Park, plus a search and rescue team from Oakland. Now, among those missing are the Walker family from Marin County. Their close friends and family held a vigil last night at Marin Catholics on campus, their church, praying for better news very soon. Our Suji Nam was there.
An emotional outpouring of love and support on Tuesday as hundreds of members of the Marin Catholic High School community came together to pray for the Walker family.
It was just a meaningful service and meant so much. And we miss them all, and it's just tragic.
Mark, his wife Sarah, and their 14-year-old son Johnny are missing after the devastating floods in central Texas. They were last known to be staying at a house along the Guadalupe River. Family members say the couple's daughter, Ellie, was rescued at summer camp there and is safe.
It was a shock. It was like, wow, this happened in our own community, and feel so sorry for the family.
We've learned that Ellie attends Marin Catholic High School and her brother Johnny is an incoming freshman. He also played baseball for Ross Valley Little League, where his dad Mark was a coach. Mark is the brother of former Giants pitcher Tyler Walker.
The outpouring, some of our best friends know that the families, and it's stunning. And you can show the whole community of MC and the love that's come out here. It's really one big family.
Longtime family friends say they are shocked and devastated, but grateful that the community is coming together to hold on to hope.
So many more people than you ever thought. Brings community, people you didn't see in a while. Really taking this to heart.
The chapel was overflowing with about 300 to 400 loved ones standing together and praying for better news.
So we're just lucky to have each other during this time.
Well, right now, you can help the victims of the devastating floods in Texas. Just scan the QR code you see on your screen. It'll take you to a list of organizations helping with relief for those communities.
Let's go to the community of San Jose, where friends and family demand justice for the 18-year-old woman found dead after missing for several days. Marissa DiNapoli's ex-boyfriend, 20-year-old Martin Mendoza Jr., made his first court appearance yesterday, charged with first-degree murder in DiNapoli's death. Court documents revealed DiNapoli died from 5 stab wounds to her back. Prosecutors say surveillance video showed the couple leaving Martin's Morgan Hill home hours before she died. Friends say the two had an intense and rocky relationship.
We all tried to warn her. I tried to stay as close as I could.
Let's not let this case get swept under the rug, because we know that, things sometimes take a lot of time to finish, but this is something that we don't want to take forever. We want change, and we want it now. Our sister deserves her justice.
So while he is on the inside, he's not aware of those protesters, but they say they'll stay there. Martin Mendoza behind bars, no bail offered. He will face a judge September 9th. Sanitation worker protests in Boston have ripple effects right here in the Bay Area. Crews in some neighborhoods, and maybe you experienced this, declared solidarity with garbage workers in Boston and refused to do their jobs here. Protesters gathered outside of Republic Services truck yard in Fremont holding signs. Similar trash strikes happening around the country as a lot of workers fight for higher wages.
Anytime you pick a fight with one Teamster, you pick a fight with 1.3 million Teamsters. So, I think Republic is finding that out the hard way.
So Republic Services says they're adding a Saturday pickup to deal with trash piling up in neighborhoods right here in the Bay Area. San Francisco leaders taking action today on a controversial RV policy. So here's where we are on this one. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors Budget and Finance Committee will vote on Mayor Daniel Lurie's RV ban, which essentially enforces a 2-hour parking limit for oversized vehicles. Advocates say the ban unfairly punishes those who are struggling to find housing. More than 500 RV homes could face tickets, fines, or, Gianna, even towing.
Well, in San Francisco, law enforcement raided a house connected to the fireworks business involved in the deadly warehouse explosion in Yolo County. It happened yesterday afternoon at a home on 2nd Avenue in the Inner Richmond neighborhood. That's the same address where the company Devastating Pyrotechnics is registered. The company had been operating at the warehouse that exploded last week in Esparto, killing 7 people. The Yolo County Sheriff's Office, Sacramento Sheriff's Bomb Squad, and San Francisco Police were a part of the raid. We spoke to neighbors who say they were shocked.
This is a big surprise, kind of the biggest thing that's happened on 2nd Avenue in a long time.
They're very good neighbors, so I don't think that they have done anything.
Well, the Sacramento Sheriff's Office says the bomb squad was in San Francisco for mutual aid requests related to the warehouse fire. California's state fire marshal says the incident has raised several red flags.
There are a number of search warrants that were carried out and likely will be into the near future. Not all local permits were issued to hold this type of material, this large of a quantity. There are a lot of very stringent state laws and regulations. There are federal requirements for storage.
Well, we've reached out to the attorney for the owner and CEO of Devastating Pyrotechnics, and he said his client is innocent of any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, in Esparto, the remains of the 7 missing workers were found in the rubble over the weekend. Authorities are conducting DNA testing to identify the bodies. They should have results in 48 hours.
Time right now, 6:11. A possible ceasefire in Gaza could happen in the coming days. We take a look at where negotiations stand as Israel's prime minister wraps up his visit to the White House.
And President Trump extending the pause on his reciprocal tariffs until next month. CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger joins us live to explain what we can expect and how these tariffs might impact you.
The Sunrise Sunset Report is sponsored by John By's Bay Area Houses.
The White House this morning saying a ceasefire deal in Gaza could be reached by the end of the week. This as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wraps up his meetings to Washington. Netanyahu got 2 meetings with President Trump and meetings with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Insiders tell CBS News Ed O'Keefe talks between Hamas and Israel are down to just one single issue, and hope for a ceasefire, they say, has never been so close. Wanting to bolster mining in the United States, President Trump says new tariffs are on the way for copper imports into the USA, all of them. Trump says those imports will face a 50% tariff. Copper is a key component in the manufacture of a variety of goods, including the electronics that you are using right now this morning, machinery, and the cars that you'll drive to get to work. It's unclear when this new copper tariff would go into effect. A major win for President Trump's efforts to scale back the federal government. So here's where we are. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled to allow mass layoffs and reorganization efforts to move forward. In a brief, unsigned order, the court paused the lower court ruling by a San Francisco federal judge blocking those efforts. Lower courts and critics have argued that President Trump is illegally bypassing Congress.
Let's get a live look outside. It is Wednesday. We are halfway through the work week. Okay, so this is our camera situated on Treasure Island. It's a great perspective of the San Francisco city skyline. Now, what I would like when I saw this, when I see this, Zoe, is the sun to be shining and giving me a little bit more blue skies, because then it would be picture perfect. But yeah, it is a little gloomy out there.
You sound kind of like a parent there. I speak parent too. What I would like to see. What we would like to see, Zoe.
Yeah, we would like to see a lot of sunshine, and a lot of sunshine is on the way tomorrow, but that means heat. But it also isn't nearly as low-hanging clouds. So we could see the top of Salesforce Tower. Hey, that's something. Good. I like to see the top of Salesforce Tower. That's all fun things. But either way, what also we like to see is comfortable heat. And that's why we live in the Bay Area, right? But we have actually been noticing below average temperatures since the start of summer. Summer started on June 1st, and our average high temperature in downtown San Francisco since then has been 63.1 degrees. That actually puts us at our coldest start to summer since 1999. It's been before the 2000s that we have felt this chilly of air to start off the month of summer. There's only been one day at 70 degrees or above, where normally we see about 9. So yeah, it's definitely been below average to kick off the summer season. And normally these are some of the warmest days, the longest days of the year. Although we know here in the Bay Area, it's normally September, October that we really get warm. But either way, it's definitely been cooler than what we normally see and what we have seen for at least the past 25 years. The reason is because we've been dealing with quite a lot of fog, cloud coverage, onshore winds, all things in combination that has been keeping these temperatures below average, especially for those of us who do live closer to our coastal communities and even over into Oakland as well. Throughout this afternoon, though, we are going to be warming up to seasonable for this time of year. Within a degree or two of normal, inland areas are going to be in the upper 80s to low 90s. Down in the Santa Clara Valley, upper 70s to low 80s. Coastal communities, low 60s. It's a degree or two cooler than yesterday along the coast, while inland areas are a degree or two warmer than yesterday. But I want to let everybody know this is tomorrow. Look at how much darker and deeper these colors get. Those pinks signify the triple digits, and those are going to be widespread across the Central Valley tomorrow afternoon, and even a couple of select areas across our inland East Bay communities are going to be in the triple digits tomorrow. But it's going to be a very wide temperature spread from triple digits inland to mid-60s along the coast, where there is going to be a lot more comfortable heat. So it really kind of depends on what you want to enjoy. It's definitely going to be heating up on Thursday. That's going to be the big day to watch out for this week when it comes to having to deal with these well above average temperatures. So today, if you want to get out and enjoy some more comfortable, seasonable heat, I highly suggest you do. Winds aren't going to be anything too big of an issue, though. So as we step out tomorrow, the winds aren't necessarily going to cool you down at all, as those high temperatures, once again, going to be near triple digits. They will be cooling down slightly by Friday, but still staying above average. By Saturday and into Sunday, though, you will be gradually getting back to more seasonable for this time of year. Still slightly above average this upcoming weekend, along with plenty of sunshine. So that does mean you get to choose what you want to do this weekend. If you enjoy the heat, head on inland. If you like a little bit more comfortable conditions, head on over to the coast where 60s are going to be in place. Back to you.
Okay, let's take a look at the roadways right now. We are going to start off with the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. Kind of sets the tone of where we're sitting at for the morning drive. It's Wednesday. It's right around that time where things are getting a little bit busier for those eastbound routes. So if you're taking this ride over into San Francisco, getting here a little slow. If you're coming off the East Shore Freeway westbound, especially out of Richmond into Berkeley. If you're taking Highway 4 280, that's slowing down this morning, mostly in the areas of Antioch, Pittsburgh, and Bay Point. And if you're taking that ride on 880 northbound, that actually looks pretty good. Now southbound, bit of a different story out of Hayward. Quite busy this morning heading over towards that San Mateo Bridge connector. But once you're on the bridge, here's a live look. You can see it's crowded, working your way westbound over towards 101, but still bearable. Travel time's only about 17 minutes between the Nimitz and over towards the peninsula. And here's a live look at 880 near the Coliseum. You can see it's moving along okay there in both directions as you work your way through that area. Okay, so let's get a live look right now inside San Francisco's Conservatory of Flowers. What you're looking at right now is the corpse flower. It is notoriously stinky, and it's a big attraction that's starting to bloom, which means that aroma is really starting to fill the air. People compare the stench to rotting flesh. It's a time-lapse video that we're looking at here from when it started to bloom yesterday afternoon. You get a good perspective, though, of how it opens up, but the bloom will only last 2 days. That's it. So you'll have to move quickly to catch a glimpse, or I guess a whiff of the flower if you want. The Conservatory of Flowers normally closes at 4:30 p.m., but they will extend the hours until 9 o'clock tonight if you'd like to go experience this for yourself. And its name, Reed, is Chanel number 5.
What's that smell?
What's that smell?
Not me. Time right now, 6:21. The Valkyries back in action this morning, taking on the Indiana Fever. One player is seeing extra support in the crowd, even though the team is playing away games. Matt Lively has all that and more coming up in sports.
And here's a live look outside before we head to break on this Wednesday morning. Live look towards San Jose. Hey, looking for something to do. Moulin Rouge opens up tonight at the Broadway San Jose. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The Golden State Valkyries preparing for an early morning game today against the Indiana Fever.
Let's go Valkyries. It's part of a big 4-game road trip, but for one Valkyrie standout, Saturday's game against the Lynx felt like more of a home game. Matt Lively explains.
Despite being in the middle of a road trip and away from Valhalla, the Target Center was more like the Martin Center with number 20 jerseys all over the stands.
I always knew she was going to be in the WNBA.
Kate Martin's sister, Kennedy, isn't surprised about the Valkyries' guard success.
Didn't really exceed my expectations, maybe other people's, but not mine.
Kennedy and more than 15 other family members and friends made the trip from Iowa to watch Kate in person.
It's always good being back in the Midwest. I'm super grateful for everybody that came out and the people that I didn't get to say hi to. Thank you for showing up, and always special to be able to play in front of my family.
Her mom, Jill, led the caravan. She has loved every second of this season.
It's been awesome. It's a good fit for her. Natalie Nakasi is amazing. She loves it.
Her family has had a front row seat to an exciting basketball journey.
I've watched all of her dreams come true, and it's been so wonderful, and I'm just so proud of her.
It's so cool. Because we grew up with her, so now we get to watch her in the pros. Yeah, we grew up watching her in Iowa with no one there, and now she was at a sold-out arena.
We saw her play all the time in Iowa. We had to see her play now.
How far did you drive to get to this game?
3.5 hours.
And you're full Valkyries fans now?
Full Valkyries fans. We follow Kate wherever she goes.
The Martin fans were everywhere in Minnesota.
I like because she's a very good basketball player, and she does a lot of basketball stuff.
Natalie Nakase says it serves as a lesson.
Kate did not know she was going to get drafted. She was sitting in the stands, and that type of look, this is what can happen if you really work really hard and you stay focused on your goal. I think Kate is a great example of any dreams can come true.
And that's right. I love that. All right, a rare morning game for the Valkyries starting in just a couple hours. The team taking on the Fever in Indiana. Catch all the action starting at 9 a.m., an early one right here on KPIX.
Time right now, 6:26. Concern brewing in our local immigrant communities after President Trump's ICE raids. We're going to hear from a local business owner who says she is witnessing firsthand the impacts.
And Governor Newsom taking a trip to South Carolina to charm Democratic voters, what it could mean about his future political ambitions.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Looking live this morning, it's Wednesday, at least trash day from my house. I did it this morning, 4 a.m. Sorry, neighbors, you could hear the rolling of the trash cans. And we are looking at that beautiful shot, sunrise over the clouds, always up there, reaching for you. And there's the bridge.
There's the gray.
And then there's the bridge.
What a difference. It's just, few miles. Well, I guess it's 30, 40 miles, Black Mountain up to here. Don't quote me on that, but I'm just going 45 miles.
I was about to say, you just got to go up through the clouds,
yeah.
And it's beautiful. But for most of us, we're below the clouds and it's gloomy. Yeah, it's not nearly as gorgeous as that view on Black Mountain. But if you do have a house up there, I'm very jealous of you. Send us pictures. I would love to see what your sunrise looks like this morning. But either way, most of us are seeing those gloomier conditions. There's quite a lot of fog, quite a lot of cloud coverage out there. And yeah, a lot more down in the Santa Clara Valley than what we saw yesterday. And that's keeping their temperatures actually a bit more comfortable early this morning compared to what we felt yesterday at this time. By the afternoon hours, though, we are going to be warming up to seasonable. Basically, the entirety of the Bay Area is going to be within a degree or two of normal for this time of year. Upper 80s to maybe low 90s inland, upper 70s to low 80s in the Santa Clara Valley. And then their coastal communities are going to be in the upper 50s to low 60s. That's because we're going to be dealing with a bit more cloud coverage, and you would actually see the outline of the cloud coverage just by looking at those temperatures in yellow that are closer to our South Bay communities. That's where we're going to be seeing those clouds that are going to be sticking around throughout most of this afternoon. So keep that in mind. If you do live in our South Bay or closer to the coast, it is likely going to be a bit chillier, while parts of San Francisco likely are going to be seeing more sunshine. So if you're planning on maybe heading out to the game this afternoon, the Giants game at Oracle Park, it might take a little bit longer for the clouds to clear, but they are going to be clearing later this afternoon and evening. And we aren't even expecting nearly as much fog or cloud coverage overnight tonight, and waking up early tomorrow morning, a very different story. By tomorrow afternoon, a big heat up is on the way. I'll let you know how hot it's going to get and how long it's going to stick around coming up in just a bit.
First Alert Weather, brought to you by AAA Insurance. Get a quote today.
Let's get a look at some of our Bay Area bridges. Starting off the live look at the San Mateo Bridge, where traffic is getting crowded westbound heading over towards 101. It's a little bit slow there. You can see in this live shot, not quite bumper to bumper traffic, but certainly crowded as you head through there. 880 near the Coliseum. Live look here. Not bad. If you're headed to the Oakland airport this morning for an early flight and you're taking 880 to get there, that's actually looking pretty good. Overall, we've got the usual stuff on South 880 out of Hayward. In the Altamont Pass, it's slow, and that westbound 80 commute from Pinole all the way down into Berkeley.
Well, people in Bay Area immigrant communities say President Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration sends a lot of waves of fear and anxiety. Our Kara St. Cyr spoke with a business owner who says she's already seen the impacts.
Give me 1 second. I look at my gloves.
A brick-and-mortar restaurant used to be a daydream for this San Francisco shop owner.
I make a pupusa, okay?
Before this shop, she moved carts of pupusas through the Mission District as a street vendor. Now she relies on a network of other vendors and farm workers to operate. But increased ICE raids are making it difficult for them to do their jobs.
Well, it's
a little bit stressful because I've never seen them. Never seen them so afraid of wanting to go outside to work.
She tells us the fear is getting harder to ignore.
I think that most of us are afraid they're going to catch us, right? And we're trusting in God that it won't be like that none of us will have to go through that immigration process.
What's happening in San Francisco is hitting street vendors all over California. Shannon Camacho, a spokesperson for Inclusive Action in the city, a Los Angeles-based group that advocates for street vendors, says some aren't showing up for work.
We are in communication with partners throughout the entire state. We have seen such targeting of street vendors, specifically immigrant street vendors, by the Department of Homeland Security, by ICE, by Border Patrol.
Camacho says her organization is advocating for legislation that protects immigrant vendors and their data from ICE and Homeland Security. In the meantime, she says immigrants should learn their rights.
We've been trying to do all that work in collaboration with our partners and just try to help folks navigate through these very, very scary times.
Hay de zucchini aquí.
While the outside world might be frightening, she's using faith.
Then let's hope in God that He protects us.
And her community to get through each day.
Well, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie adding to the conversation, saying he stands with the immigrant community. In fact, he told our Ann Makovic during an interview yesterday he's committed to upholding our city's sanctuary policies, despite what he says is pressure from the federal government.
We had an extraordinarily difficult budget deficit this year, and yet we maintained funding for immigrant defense support. We're in touch with the Rapid Response Network. We want all of our immigrants to know their rights. Our city attorney, David Chu, has done a good job in court, making sure that we protect San Francisco values and our policies, and we're winning.
Lurie also said that his team is still trying to figure out what cuts should be coming to San Francisco through this recently passed federal budget bill.
Well, in your morning headlines, a veteran San Jose police officer placed under arrest and facing some serious accusations. Investigators say Officer Saul Duran sexually abused a 14-year-old girl while he was a volunteer at a program for at-risk teens and their families. Duran is charged with 5 counts of lewd and lascivious acts with a minor. He was released on $250,000 bail and will be arraigned on August 7th. Well, closing arguments wrapped up Tuesday in Auburn in the murder trial of Dan Serafini. The former MLB pitcher attended Serra High School in San Mateo. He's accused of shooting his in-laws at their home in Lake Tahoe in 2021. Samantha Scott, the family's nanny and Serafini's former lover, pleaded guilty to assisting Serafini and testified against him. The jury will begin deliberations tomorrow. Well, Governor Gavin Newsom is swinging through South Carolina looking to energize Democratic voters and expand the party's presence in red-leaning states. The visit is part of Newsom's On the Road in South Carolina tour to help his party win back the House in 2026. So far, he has made several stops in rural towns, speaking with small business owners and community leaders.
Because you have one thing Donald Trump doesn't have. One thing Donald Trump's never exercised. He may have the formal authority as President of the United States. You have the moral authority.
Well, political experts say Newsom's visit to South Carolina could be a strong signal that the governor is eyeing a 2028 run for president.
Yeah, a lot of people are wondering if Kamala Harris is going to run for governor. Time right now, 6:37 on the dot. President Donald Trump extending the 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs until August 1. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger joins us live with more on the impacts to you and your wallet. First, go live to Veronica from San Jose's airport with details on new security plans from the TSA. Veronica, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yeah, the shoes, they're staying on here at San Jose Manana International Airport as TSA rolls out those changes that have been in place for decades. We have reaction from passengers this morning.
All right, time now for your Moneywatch report. We are looking live at the big board this morning. Stock market going gusto this morning. So 24 hours ago, we were opening the day in negative territory. 24 hours before that, we were as well. But now we are up in positive territory. We'll take it. President Trump's reciprocal tariffs were supposed to go into effect today, but he signed an executive order sort of kicking the can down the road to an August 1st deadline. So let's talk about that and the impacts to you. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger live from New York on what would have been D-Day for the T word. Jill, bring us up to speed. What are you seeing?
Well, right now there are actually 10% charges on imports from all countries. There's 30% on China, 50% on steel and aluminum, 25% on imported cars. Now, along with the extension to August 1st, the president sent letters to 14 countries, including big trading partners of ours like Japan and South Korea. And he said that those countries are going to face even higher tariffs if they don't reach agreements with the U.S. by August 1st. Now, to be clear, even with the current pause, the actual tariff rate right now, it's at the highest level in almost 90 years. So we don't have to go much higher. This is just fine, thank you.
All right, so let's talk about the impacts to the average American, the person who's wanting to buy an iPhone, the person who is bellying up to the grocery store counter. What are you hearing?
So when you have a tariff, the company that is importing the good is on the hook for that extra charge. Now, the U.S. importer can choose two different routes. They can absorb the extra cost, maybe that would reduce their profit, or they can pass along that extra tariff cost to consumers, and maybe some combination of both. Now, if they do pass along the costs, then prices could rise for those goods. Now, in the first 6 months of the year, we haven't seen tariffs push up the inflation rate. But economists fear that if these levels, even the current levels, remain in place, that we will likely see the inflation rate tick up from today's 2.5% or so to above 3.5%. And according to analysis that we've seen from the Yale Budget Lab, that could cost households almost $2,000 on average. So it's a real number.
Well, you talk about people absorbing the costs. You know, American consumers and voters in the midterms will be thinking about that as well, no doubt. But you know who else is watching? Of course, Fed Chair Jerome Powell. He looks at the worries about inflation, and that influences interest rate decisions, no?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the tough spot that Powell and the Fed find themselves in. I think before we even knew about tariffs, the Fed was really ready to start lowering interest rates even more this year. But now tariffs have this strange double whammy impact. They could potentially raise the inflation rate, but they can also dent economic growth. And that is called stagflation, a stagnating economy with inflation. And I think that fear is really keeping the Fed on the sidelines. They want to see the impact of these tariffs in economic data. I think for those of us who are really watching closely, it's interesting. For you at home, what you need to know is interest rates on credit card balances, auto loans, even mortgages. Those are likely to remain high for the foreseeable future.
That's why homes are not moving quickly in my own neighborhood. Lots of signs, not a lot of movement. Jill Schlesinger, thank you so much. And for our viewers, a reminder, you got a friend in Jill. You can see her regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News. She's everywhere. I even hear Jill when I drive in my car on the radio. For more analysis, as always, JillOnMoney.com. Time now for a look at what's coming up later on CBS Mornings. Nate Burleson joins us live from New York. Good morning, my friend. We hear you as well on the radio.
Hey, what's going on, Reed? How you doing, my friend? It's good to see you. Here's what's coming up on CBS Mornings. There are major concerns about national security today after artificial intelligence was used to impersonate Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Kelly O'Grady looks into these increasingly sophisticated, they're being called deep fakes, as we have heard, and how you can protect yourself and your family. Plus, summer is here, as we know. It's in full swing, baby. Your brain might be on vacation mode, but what about your skin? We will talk to a board-certified dermatologist about the best ways to keep your skin safe from the sun. And speaking of summer, what would a good barbecue be without a summer cocktail? Am I right, or am I right, or am I right? We'll talk to Food and Wine magazine about some of the most delicious and refreshing summer drinks. We will have everything you need to know, and of course, more on the show. We'll see you at 7.
All right, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, Nate. Thank you so much. Have a great day, friend.
Just not here yet, but sometime soon. All right, looking live at San Jose Mineta Airport, where passengers will be able to keep their shoes on. The TSA is phasing out its nearly 20-year policy requiring airline passengers to remove their shoes at TSA checkpoints. So the plan is getting a slow rollout across airports across the country. Veronica Macias live, checking in with travelers in San Jose this morning. I don't have to wear flip-flops anymore, Veronica. I can just wear my tennis shoes, not worry about it.
You could definitely just walk through TSA with those shoes on here at San Jose Mineta International Airport, Gianna. We're finding that is the case. The new changes are being implemented, and really people who we've talked to, passengers this morning, the change is well received. They say this is going to lessen the congestion at TSA. It's going to make things smoother and faster. But from looking at the line this morning, the line was a lot longer earlier today. I could tell you the people who are really going to benefit here from the elimination of this old policy is people who are juggling the kiddos here trying to get through TSA and seniors. And we also talked to TSA and they tell me that you could be randomly selected to keep your shoes on. Before now, only travelers who completed the TSA pre-check requirements were allowed to walk through security with no shoes. Now this can be done by all passengers regardless of your pre-check. This isn't the only change that we're seeing at airports, though. Around the country, there's the rollout of the biometric facial recognition. The changes also don't seem to bother people. They actually think it was about time because of the accuracy that comes with the new technology.
It's going to make it a lot speedier to get there on time.
What? Any concern about still keeping your shoes on? I mean, not taking off your shoes?
Nope. It's going to be 10 times faster.
You know, I was talking to a passenger earlier and he made a lighthearted moment out of the situation. He says, you know how this all started, right? With someone having to or trying to carry a bomb in with their shoes. And he said, imagine if someone just tried to put that bomb in some undergarment. Are we going to have to take those off as well? So trying to be funny this morning, but I thought it was, you know, kind of nice to have that sense of humor and see how people are really welcoming the changes here at TSA and at other airports that we've talked to people. And of course, you know, they're trying to make things a lot smoother in our area since we have so many big events coming up within the next year, like FIFA, the World Cup.
That and Super Bowl 60 also coming to the Bay. So we are going to have a lot of travelers in this area for sure. So making it a lot quicker. All right, Veronica, thank you. Now taking a live look outside on this Wednesday morning. If you are traveling and planning on getting out and about today, here is a live look from the top of Mount Diablo. You've got a few clouds hanging out over towards the East Bay. You know, one of my most embarrassing moments at the airport was I had a pair of boots that I loved and the zipper got stuck. Oh. I couldn't unzip. And I mean, they got pretty, you know, they weren't happy with me when I was trying to get through TSA. I was like, I can't unzip the
Well, you got to shave your legs.
You know, I just didn't want to be totally, you know, let it all hang out. Like, you know what? I had pants on for a reason.
So what did you have to do then?
So the guy said, if you can't get it done, I'm going to go get some pair of pliers or scissors. You decide. I was like, okay. I finally got it.
Okay, so you got it eventually.
Yeah, it took a good 10, 15 minutes. I was so stressed out.
That's awful.
Yeah.
TSA line is already so, they're already yelling at you, like, come on, hurry up, go, go, go. And you're like, I can't. I literally
promised you.
Oh, well, either way, if you're out traveling today, there shouldn't be too many weather issues. Just a little bit of that fog that we're used to seeing early in the morning hours this time of year, but it's not nearly as low hanging or creating many visibility concerns. So yes, it's a gloomy start to the day, but you shouldn't necessarily have to give yourself any extra time if you do plan on traveling when it comes to the weather concerns, at least. We've actually been seeing below average temperatures throughout the month, or throughout the start of summer, though. There's been a little bit of a cold streak, at least closer to our coastal communities. Downtown San Francisco, average high temperature 63.1 degrees since June 1st. That puts us at our coldest start to summer since 1999. So if you thought it's been cold since June 1st, you've been right. There's actually only been one day this summer at or above 70 degrees, when normally we see about 9 days so far this season at or above 70. Either way, though, I would still suggest getting out and about and enjoying some sunshine this afternoon. If you're planning on heading out to the Giants game this afternoon, it starts at 12:45. It's a day game. You might see a little bit more cloud coverage to start the game, but by later in the game, there will be plenty of sunshine and there will be really nice temperatures, seasonable for this time of year, within a degree or two of normal all across the bay. So that just means I would highly suggest out and enjoying yourself today, especially because, again, we aren't expecting the cloud coverage to be all too impactful, especially farther inland when those high temperatures are going to be warming up to about 5 degrees above yesterday in the upper 80s to low 90s, while the Santa Clara Valley will be very, very similar to yesterday in the upper 70s to low 80s. Coastal communities in the low 60s this afternoon, but like I've been talking about, a big heat up is on the way. So if you want to step out tomorrow, you're going to want to have to practice heat safety, because look at those temperatures jumping inland. Those pink colors signify the triple digits, and that's what we're expecting for the inlandmost communities of the Bay. Fairfield and over to Antioch could get to the triple digits, and we'll actually be in the upper 90s down into the Santa Clara Valley as well. So if you want to escape the heat, take a short drive on over to the coast, where those highs are going to be in the mid to lower 60s. So again, comfortable heat is on the way for those of you who do live along our coastal communities. Just a little bit warmer, while inland areas, it's going to be a heat safety kind of afternoon tomorrow. It's going to be far from record-breaking territory, but it is going to be one of the warmest days that we have seen so far this summer, because like I've been talking about, the summer season has actually been below average for most of the Bay Area. Inland communities, though, have been pretty seasonable. We'll be warming up tomorrow for about one day, gradually cooling down Friday. Still going to be warm out there. And then by the upcoming weekend, we'll be right back to more seasonable conditions. So if you have any outdoor plans this weekend, you should be a lot more comfortable. If you have any Thursday or Friday plans, that's probably where you're going to want to head on over to the coast, when there is going to be a lot more comfortable heat, mid-60s, a couple of degrees with an average of this time of year. So again, coastal communities comfortable, inland areas, get ready for a heat up. Back to you.
Let's get you rolling on those freeways this morning. Golden Gate Bridge live look here. It's great to see this because you can actually see it. There's no fog hovering over the span to slow you down. Visibility looks great. 101, so far so good. A few delays southbound out of Petaluma into Novato, but so far it's a pretty good ride out of Marin County, working your way over into San Francisco. Now, if you're trying to get across the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge, maybe you're heading westbound to 101 over towards San Rafael, it is crowded. It's busy there. If you're trying to go westbound 80 just to get to the bridge on the Richmond side, well, that is pretty crowded as you work your way out of there. And even as you head west of there towards Berkeley and towards the Bay Bridge. Altamont Pass, we've got some busy conditions coming out of Tracy this morning, but this is pretty typical for a Wednesday commute. As you head over into the Altamont, it eases up just a bit once you get a little closer to Livermore and towards the Dublin interchange. And travel times, not too bad, 52 minutes. That's normal, 205 to 680. About 30 minutes for that East Shore Freeway commute from Highway 4 to the Maze, and that 101 ride out of San Jose, not too bad this morning. Okay, well, speaking of, let's stay over towards the South Bay, taking a live look at Levi's Stadium, where fans of the weekend are getting ready for night 2 of his concert tonight after he brought down the house yesterday. Wow, look at that light show. The Weeknd bringing his After Hours Till Dawn tour to the Bay Area. His concert last night was filled with lots of energy as his fans sang along to his tunes. And of course, what would a concert be without fireworks, right? Pyrotechnics. If you plan on going tonight, take public transit. If you can, parking will be tight. And Irene, one of our writers, was there. I think she brought us these videos.